Housewife.live this week. I am your host, Ebony, your favorite life coach. I am so grateful that you guys continue to build our community, continue to join us weekly on Wednesday nights. I do apologize for not posting last week. Last week was my son's graduation. I thought I was going to be able to post last week. I was really, really excited about this podcast that I am getting ready to upload this week, but it just did not happen. And I am not going to, I think I already did apologize, but I'm not going to apologize for not uploading. Let me just say that. I'm not apologizing for uploading because I've already said, living in the moment is more important than living past the moment. So I'm just going to say that I do apologize for not being consistent like I should have been, but I was definitely living in the moment of my reality, and that moment was very important to our family. So I do apologize for not being consistent to my community, but I do not apologize for not letting my son down, because that moment for my family was the most important moment for him and us. So, but it was very exciting. You guys, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I don't think I've posted anything on Facebook, but if you follow me on Instagram, then we definitely had a time. We celebrated at the graduation with friends and family. We celebrated afterwards at the house. It rained out, our outdoor parties. So we had to put the party in the house. And it was a little overwhelming for me because my house is not huge, but it was fun. We brought all the decorations in. We brought all the tables in, the food in. The kids, I think, had more of a party than the adults, which was fine. It was more for them anyway. Well, let me just say this. I think the toddlers had more of a party than the adults did, or the teens, which was fine. But anyways, it was great. It was a great celebration. We literally got on the road for his cruise at midnight, 12:30 that night. We shut down the party around 11. It was just awesome. So it was definitely a time to be had. We definitely enjoyed the week last week. It was just an amazing time for my family to celebrate. So I am amazingly overwhelmed and just so excited for my son and his accomplishments, and so is my family. So thank you guys again for just sticking with us and being my community and being my support during this time of celebration and moving on to the next level, right? All right, so let's get into this topic tonight. We're jumping in. Let's get into it. We're talking about professional boundaries in the workplace, whether you own your own business, whether you work for someone else. We know that we have to have professional boundaries. We have to have boundaries wherever we are, period. Families, relationships, period, right? So let's get into it. Okay, so of course I have a very particular topic in mind, and I want to talk about management. So if you're in management, you should definitely have a professional boundary. And the 4 topics that I want to stick to, just so we stay on topic, are jealousy, insecurity, admiration, and infatuation. If you are in management, those are the 4 topics that you should definitely stay clear of, okay? So we are going to talk about how to not to display these 4 things if you are in management. I know you're probably thinking, Ebony, these things sound a lot alike, but let me tell you, there is a very thin line between all 4 of these, okay? So jealousy, let's break that one down. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting tongue-tied. So jealousy, the definition for jealousy: showing or feeling envy of someone or their achievements and advantages. Let's talk about insecurity, okay? Uncertain or lack of confidence, a feeling of inadequacy, not feeling good enough. Let's talk about admiration, feeling of approval, wonder, or pleasure. Infatuation, a feeling of foolish, a short time of interest. Being absorbed with extreme passion can be a good thing or a bad thing. So these 4 things should not be displayed in any situation or if you're in management, okay? So when you are a manager, or if you know a manager that display these type of things, so for one, do not pull them to the side and have this conversation with them. Don't say, hey, I have a podcast that you should listen to. Just steer clear, or maybe just play it in the air if you're in a private setting. But if you are a manager or in a higher position, this is great that you're listening to this podcast, okay? But you definitely don't want to display these 4 things. I do know of a situation where I have overheard some things. And so that is one thing that kind of struck me to talk about this in my podcast. So I'm going to steer clear of trying to put any personal information into this podcast, but I did definitely want to have this topic talked about. I know that so many times in the workplace, professional boundaries get blurred so easily. And especially with women, we get in conversations and we don't realize that our topics can get very, very thin and kind of dusty when it comes to other women and the topics and the things that we can talk about. And then I think sometimes our conversations can get very blurry and we don't realize that we cross boundaries. And then I think that sometimes as women, we get kind of messy in the topics that we talk about. And I know for sure that we know that we're messy and we do it intentionally. And I know for sure that we have management and we have leaders set in place that intentionally do things that can kind of disrupt the teams and then they cause all kind of catastrophic environments and then they up and leave and then you have a whole bunch of chaos to clean up after they're gone and you're left with mess to clean up after them. So if you set boundaries in place for yourself, you don't have to worry about the mess to clean up after the chaos has left or after the tornado is gone, right? Of course, you're always going to have people who come in to cause chaos. You're always going to have people to come in who aren't happy with themselves. And I know sometimes it's hard to set boundaries with people that you don't know that are coming in to cause chaos. I know sometimes people come in and they stir up strife and mess and you don't see it coming. Sometimes we get blindsided by things, and that's okay because life always throws curveballs that we don't see. But I feel like if we kind of stay guarded and we stay on our P's and Q's, we don't always let our guard down easily, we can protect things a little bit better, right? And so you don't have as much as a cleanup to do once the whirlwind is gone. So instead of talking in code, let's just be real, okay? Don't just explain your boundaries, set your boundaries, be clear, communicate, and be consistent, okay? Don't just say, oh, I don't gossip, I don't do this, I don't do that. No, stand firm and make sure everybody understands. Make sure your colleagues understand. Make sure your manager understands. If you're the manager, make sure you don't fluctuate with different people. Be clear and concise. Make sure everyone understands your perspective on what you stand for. So let's be clear. I do understand when we're at work, we're going to have friends, we're going to have conversations, we're going to show frustrations. I am not saying that you cannot talk to people, even if you're in management. I'm not saying that you're not going to have a friend that you're going to want to voice things to when you're frustrated, but I am saying watch what you say and who you say it to, okay? There's always an etiquette that you're supposed to have when you're at work on somebody's premises or even at your own job. So in the situation of feeling envy or showing jealousy towards someone's achievements or advantages, that should never happen. Remember, there is a certain etiquette you're supposed to have at work, okay? Show boundaries. If you are feeling envious of someone's achievements or advantages, do not show this kind of frustration at work. Remember that you are a boss wherever you are, whether you are in management or not, okay? Women, we are a boss wherever we are in whatever position we hold, okay? Remember, if you are feeling insecure, it does not matter where you are and what position you hold and what title you hold. You do not show insecurity at work. You are perfect in every way, in every form and fashion. It does not matter about your weaknesses. It does not matter about the level of confidence that you may think that you have or the fact that you think that you have an inadequacy. You are perfectly imperfect regardless, okay? So when you voice these things to different women in different perspective, or that you show that you think that you have a different perspective of your lack of, these things will always come out, okay? Because depending on who you voice it to, they're going to voice it to somebody else. And then there goes those boundaries. They're broken. And then there goes that water cooler gossip, okay? Yes, we all love the water cooler gossip. It doesn't really matter who spreads it or who tells you whatever. We all love it at some point in fashion. So just remember, ladies, you don't want to be the topic of the water cooler gossip, okay? So I just want to tell you that if you are in management, listen closely. If you are in management and you're having a conversation about someone and you're saying, oh my God, this person is this person is that, and I just can't believe that this and this, like, read between the lines of what I'm saying. You're showing your insecurity. Don't ever put somebody else down. Don't ever talk about how you think they're failing at their job. Don't ever talk about how you feel like they are not doing a great job. Or now granted, if you're in management, you pull them into a meeting and you have a constructive criticism meeting with them, and you're saying, these are the things that I think you can do better at. These are the things that you're doing great at already. These are, points that I think you should take in consideration to help you perform in a better way. Yes, that is exactly what you're supposed to do in management. When you go to a colleague that is below you or same level as you, and you're talking outside of those confined doors, and you're spreading rumors about someone, and you're saying how you think they are a failure, and you're saying how you think they aren't doing such a great job, you then are showing your insecurities, okay? So there is a thin line of unprofessionalism there. So yes, when you are in management, there is a way to construct your colleagues. There is a way to say how you think they should perform better. And then there's also a way of saying, I'm not a great leader. So when you do those things, you're saying that you're not great. Okay? When you talk about your colleagues to another colleague outside of those walls, outside of those doors, you're telling other people your insecurities. You're telling other people that you're jealous of somebody because you're making yourself, or you think you're making yourself, look bigger than them. And you're just making yourself look very, very small. Also remember, when you're hyping somebody up and you're talking about how much you are in love with their lifestyle, how much you're in love with where they're going for their vacation, where they're living for, what house they live in, what car they're driving, who they're married to, or who they're dating. I just can't believe how they're wearing their hair this week. And when you're constantly talking about someone else's life and how they're living and what they have and what they're wearing and what shoes they have on this week, that is called infatuation. And that definitely is a boundary breaker, okay? That is definitely not etiquette, unprofessional. Stop it. Why are you so infatuated with someone else? That is another way of showing you're insecure about you, okay? So in management or just personally, women, love you for you. Stop being infatuated with other women. If you love who they are, tell them personally, girl, I love the fact that you're doing this. I am too striving to do this, and leave it there. Move on to something different. But when you constantly talk about how you're in love with somebody else's life and you're trying to live vicariously through them, you look desperate. You look needy. You look low. Again, jealous. Again, insecure. Okay? Love you for you. Stop looking poor. Stop sounding poor, okay? Because that's definitely what you're doing, whether you're in management or not. Boundaries, ladies. Remember, boundaries. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. We don't compare women. We level up, okay? As women, we are to raise the bar for other women so that we can pull each other up. Stop living through other women and let's help women rise to each other's level, and so that we can continue to rise together, okay? Because we are here to help each other. We are not here to put each other down. We're here to help each other, okay? Because we love each other and we want each other to grow and to prosper, not to put each other down. I know as women, sometimes we can have complex feelings for each other, but that is just, again, our insecurities and sometimes admiration, and sometimes those just feelings of infatuations that we don't know how to handle and deal with. But we're going to look deep inside and learn how to deal with that little girl that we never had to address before, right? So we're going to learn to love each other, learn to love ourselves, and we're going to grow and grow up. We are all great leaders. We're all bosses in our own way. So one of my favorite things to say is what makes a great leader is the configuration of unpredictable situations. Ladies, when you find yourself in a situation where people are trying to make you a garbage can, don't be one. If someone brings you mess, turn around and dump it right back on them and let them know you don't want it, okay? Don't allow people to put you in a situation where you're their garbage can. Don't take it. You do not have to be a dumpster. So learn to take yourself out of situations like that, okay? Learn to put yourself in a situation where you're the one that's bringing people up and not putting them down. Learn to put yourself in situations where you're the one that is continuing to praise people, continuing to boost people, continuing to be the one who is helping someone to come out of jealousy, helping someone to not be insecure, helping someone to learn how not to be infatuated with other people, but instead be infatuated with themselves and their own situations, okay? So remember, if you don't do you, you won't be done. Thank you guys so much for liking and loving and sharing this podcast. And remember that we are here weekly every Wednesday night, okay? I love you guys, and I will talk to you next Wednesday.